Good evening, everyone, and especially Yasher Koyach for those of you who braved the elements to
I was zicher you wouldn't come.
to warm yourselves up with some Tanya. So we're middle of Perek Lamed Hey. We're holding on page 88. And let's recap. So last week, we began with Alter Rebbe asking three questions. Question number one, Kikarev elecha adavar miyoid beficha uvavavcha la'asoisai. Right? That the whole nekuda of Torah mitzvahs is leading la'asoisai for Maisa. HaMaisa huwa ikar. Not beficha uvavavcha vil la'asoisai, not in thought, in speech, and in action, but in thought and in speech. And everything is leading la'asoisai to action. So for question number one is why? Why is HaMaisa Iker? Why is action paramount in Yiddishkeit? In the Lashon of Kabbalah, Asiya La'ela. The idea of Asiya, action, that's the most important thing. That's question number one. Question number two, Alter Rebbe asks, why is it that by the vast majority of people, those people who are called Beinanim, those who struggle, those whose mission in life it is to struggle against the Nefesh HaBahamis, they have to struggle and struggle against the Nefesh HaBahamis, and they don't ever succeed in overcoming or getting rid of it or transforming it. Now we understand the purpose of struggling. Struggle in itself is something which is valuable. But the question still remains, why does the Nefesh Elokis have to come down and enter a guf and a Nefesh HaBahamis, be mislabish in it, and become one with it? Why can't it struggle against something which is an external threat? Why does it have to become one and unite with this klipa element which it must struggle against for its entire lifetime and never really completely overcome it? So that was the second question. The third question is that Alter Rebbe quotes the Zohar. The Zohar says that a yid is a candle, and the guf is the psila, the guf is the wick, and the fire, the flame, is the shechina. What keeps the flame connected to the wick? And a candle. So you have to have oil, some sort of fuel you have to have. So what is it that keeps, we say that if the body is the wick and the shechina is the flame, what keeps the wick and the flame together? So the Zohar says this is uvdan tavan, the maisim tovim which a person does. Asks the Alter Rebbe, if you need something, an intermediary, something which can hold together, which connects the guf together with the shechina, why can't the neshama, which is a chelik alikar, which is godliness, which is so holy, why can't the neshama serve as the connection, as the fuel which keeps together the guf, the body, and the shechina? Those are the three questions that Alter Rebbe asked. And right now we are in the process of answering the third question. And to answer the third question, Alter Rebbe says we're going to do a little outside, then we'll do inside. We already started this inside, but we'll finish it. Third question is why can't the neshama serve as the fuel? Why does you have to have dafka ma'asim tovim as being the fuel? So we have to understand, what is the idea of Kedusha? What is the notion of Kedusha? Or Hashras Hashchina, which is really the same idea. When is something holy? If there's a Hashras Hashchina, a place where the Shechina rests and resides, that's a place which is holy. So what is Kedusha? Kedusha, as we learned already earlier on in Perek Hey and Perek Daled, Kedusha is something which is transparent to the truth of Hashem. Everything in this world lies. Everything in this world proclaims, I am something. And something which is holy is transparent to the truth of Hashem, which is bittul. To put it in somewhat different words. In other words, something which is bittul is transparent to the emes of Einod Muvadeh. Put it in somewhat different words. The truth is that Malay Chala Aretz Kavaydah, Hashem is everywhere. What does it mean that one place is holier than another place? We have in this week's parsha. Moshe Rabbeinu, he comes to Har Sinai, and Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, Shal na'alecha mal raglecha, take off your shoes, ki amakim, because the place that you are standing upon, admas kodesh hu, is holy. What do you mean it's holy? The Eibishter is everywhere. Les asar poni minei, there is no place which is devoid of Hashem, and He's everywhere. What makes one place holier than another? What makes one object holier than another? What makes one action holier than another? And the answer, this is an idea which is a recurring idea in Chassidus and in Tanya, is that everything is one way. Everything is, in other words, from Hashem's perspective, which is the ultimate truth, Taka, there's nothing other than Him, there is no place which is devoid of Him. So from the Eibishter's perspective, there's nothing which is more holy or less holy. He's everything and everything is Him. It's the perspective of the Tachton. How much is the Tachton? How much is the object that we're talking about, any given object or entity, how much is it in tune with the truth of Einid Movadei? The more that it is in tune with that, the more that the truth of Malach Lar's Kaveda is present in it, on its terms. Kedusha is on the terms of this world. So some things, and some places, and some objects, and some actions.
It conceals it. These objects conceal
Exactly.
the truth.
So
That's why I call it Olam HaSheker, right?
But what conceals the truth? When there's Yeshus, when I say I am, I'm automatically pushing away. That means that the Eibishter isn't here. So what does it mean to have Hashras HaShechina? The Shechina really is upon me and upon every single thing. But it's concealed, it's a klipa, it's not apparent. In order to, when the thing is batal, so then it is receptive to the truth of Ein Mulvade, and that's where Kedusha is, and that's where Hashras HaShechina is.
How could Yeshus be bottled? That's the Metzias of Yeshus.
Hold your question. Hold your question.
I'm sorry about that.
That's where. How can we be batal? And the answer. So the answer is mitzvahs. That's where we're going. The answer is mitzvahs. But hold that for a second. So again, in this week's parsha,
change my mahus to mitzvahs. Doesn't change.
You asked the same question last week.
I mean, I'm still in a quagmire.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. So. Hold your question until after today's class. I believe it'll be answered.
Oh, thank you.
So in this week's parsha, we have again that Moshe Rabbeinu goes to Har Sinai, and Hashem tells him, "This place is kodesh, and therefore shal na'alecha mal raglecha. Take off your shoes." What's the connection?
Well, what's the shoes have to do with?
What does the shoes have to do with anything? Right? We see that we see that there are places where holy takas of Har Sinai. Take off your shoes. In the Beis Hamikdash, the Kihanim didn't wear shoes. Also, Al Makom Kaddish.
The Chabad, when they go they take off the thing.
And the Chabad, when we go to the oil, to the Tzion, we take off the shoes.
I don't want to go off the topic, but could you explain to my grubber cup? I know the Rebbe used to do that when he went to his shver. Is that true?
Yeah.
So I'm sure the Rebbe had a cheshbon. Is that why we do it also? Did the Rebbe do that?
Yeah, because of this idea, by Har Sinai and by the Beis Hamikdash.
There's a human being's kever. It's not Har Sinai.
So what is Kedusha?
Kedusha is where the Rebbeinu Shalom is.
Well,
Your kippur, right? It's the same thing.
But it's everywhere.
you following what we're talking about? What is Kedusha?
I think very abstract.
So
b'derech klal, why do we wear shoes in general?
Because it's cold.
Because it's cold, or because there are physical reasons, right?
Yeah.
But everything physical has a spiritual reason. What's the real reason why we wear shoes? See the
Animals
reason?
don't need shoes. Why don't they?
Why do we wear shoes? Animals don't need shoes. Why do we wear shoes? And the answer is because the earth represents, was doimim, is the lowest, that's artzius, chumrius, materialism. And we never want to be directly on the ground. You need the separation. The shoe is the separation. It keeps us, you might want to say, atef hachecher, it keeps us a little higher. It's symbolic of the fact that we should never be completely on the ground. We're spiritual beings ultimately. There are certain places though that are mekoimis kedushim, that are halakha places, which means, what is it, as explained before, what does kedusha mean? Kedusha means a place which is transparent to the nekuda, to the idea of einoid movadei. And in such a place, even the ground is Kaddish. Even the ground is Kaddish. And in such a place, you don't need a shoe. You don't need a shoe. To the contrary, you don't want a shoe. You want to be directly on the ground over there.
So why this ground has kedusha and other the world?
That's exactly what we're explaining. The truth is that Malay Chalar, it's Kavayde.
I don't see any Nevada when I go to I don't see it, I don't perceive it.
And if you went to Har Sinai and if you went to the Beis HaMikdash, also not. But it's a place. It's a place where when you walk in, it's something, you don't feel something other than Kedusha, other than holiness. It's like a Sefer Torah. The Sefer Torah is holy for the same reason.
So you want to be connected to Kedusha, that's why you should wear a shoe. This is only the shear,
So let's leave it for another time.
But no one before the Rebbe did that. Previous Chabad, they never did that. When they went
It's for another time, for another place. Yeah. I'm talking about the Parsha. Sal Nalecha. It's true that we do by the Tzion also, and an analysis of that minig is beyond the purview of this class.
I could explain, because it freaks me out.
Contact me.
Yeah, talk.
Okay.
Give a private audience.
Good.
No, Torah ain't limited.
But that's the Nakuda. The Nakuda is that everything has a shaykhis to Kedusha as long as it's bottled. As long as it's bottled to Hashem. So again, Hashras Hashchina is synonymous with the idea of Bittul. Because the Shechina is everywhere. So what does it mean that the Shechina is one place, not another? It's everywhere. It means the truth is Eined Movadai. But in most places conceals that truth. When something or someone or an action is bottled, in other words, it doesn't have an identity, an ego, but rather is transparent to Eined Movadai. So that is Hashras Hashchina. That means that this is a place which is receptive to the Shechina, to the divine presence. In order to have Hashras Hashchina, you need ultimate bittul. The problem is that the neshama is not completely bottled to Hashem. Remember, we asked the question: why can't the neshama be the fuel? Why can't the neshama be the oil that connects the guf with the Shechina? The answer is because the neshama has an identity. The neshama is not completely bottled. What's the proof that it has an identity? The proof that it has an identity is that it has avas Hashem and yiras Hashem. And as Alter Rebbe says, yesh misha oyev and yesh misha yareh. The fact that something can love, I love Hashem means there's an I. Without me, there can't be you can't have love Hashem without a me loving Hashem. So if the neshama loves Hashem, that means it has an identity. If the neshama fears Hashem, I fear Hashem, there's an I. So strangely enough, the love and the fear that the neshama has for Hashem, not only doesn't it serve to connect it to Hashem, but to the contrary. That's the problem. The problem is that there's an I. It's a very holy I. The neshama's I is a very holy I. But at the end of the day, there's an identity there. And this is actually alluded to in this week's parsha. Ve'ela shmois b'nei Yisrael aboyim Mitzrayma, says the Alter Rebbe. Alter Rebbe explains in Likutei Torah that we know a name represents an identity. Because the name of every single thing and every single person, every single entity in this world represents its particular characteristics and nature and identity. So ve'ela shmois b'nei Yisrael. Where is it that a neshama gets a name? B'nei Yisrael. Where do we get the shemesh? Where do we get a name from? Where do we get an identity from? What's the next words in the pasuk? Ve'ela shmois b'nei Yisrael. Habayim Mitzrayim. When the neshama goes into Mitzrayim, when the neshama enters the guf, suddenly it has an identity. It's a holy identity. The neshama, as it is l'mayla in its makir, in its shirish, it has no name. It has no name. It has nothing. Because it's just completely a chelik alikat, completely one with the Eibishter, completely bottled. But as Habayim Mitzrayim, as the neshama comes and enters Mitzrayim, Mitzrayim means limitations. And here we're talking about the limitations of the guf. Suddenly the neshama has an identity. The problem with having an identity is, as mentioned, every ego, every identity is a stira to Hashem. The Gemara says Right? In Masechta Sotah, the Gemara says that Rabban Bal Gaiva, Hashem says, Ein ani v'hu yichelim ladar. We can't coexist. Hashem turns to Bal Gaiva and says, it's either me or it's you. We can't, one of us has to leave the room. And it's funny. We don't find that about other Averis. Okay, there's one day in the Gemara that it's also about Lashon Hara, but the main gears in the Gemara is that it's about Bal Gaiva. Why is Gaiva such a terrible thing? Of all the different Midas Rois and of all the Averis, that by Gaiva Hashem says, Ein ani v'hu yichelim ladar, me and you, we can't coexist. Because again, to be any sort of a keli for Asheras HaShechina, to have any shaykhs to Kedusha, the number one prerequisite is bittul, a lack of ego. The problem is the neshama is ego. It has ego, a holy identity, but it has an identity, and that's a problem. That's an impediment for it connecting to Hashem.
God's God, we can't tolerate it.
Sorry?
God's God, we can't tolerate it.
Well, it's not that he can't tolerate it. It's that when you have yeses, you're throwing him out.
But that's by design.
As mentioned earlier, if Malay Halar's Kaved, of course Hashem is here. Hashem is everywhere. Hashem is not leaving because you're a Baal Gaiva. But your Gaiva doesn't allow him into your awareness, into your consciousness, into your neshama. Your identity is a stira to Eined Movade. It's not he's leaving. You threw him out.
It's his presence or yours.
Yeah, and that's the choice of life. Nefesh Hamis, Nefesh Elikis, right? That's the choice.
So his Gaiva wins.
The Yesh Amiti, right? He's the ultimate Metzias. The difference is that his Metzias is true and your Metzias is false. That's the difference.
Yeah, but it's by design.
That's correct.
By design, the whole thing. It's deliberate. It was designed that way to begin with. That the yeshus of the neshama, and with all the geshem, the gashmius in the world, it was by.
Is that a question or a statement?
I lost myself.
Okay, you're correct. It's by design.
Yeah, but you're saying that by Gaiva, Kodesh Baruch Hu has zero tolerance.
No one asks you to be a Baal Gaiva. You have an identity. No one asks you to be a Baal Gaiva, and
that's
you can.
Even worse, you said.
Yeah, and you can be doing mitzvahs, which is bittul. Yes, the default state of a person is yeshus, but we can do things about that.
But Gaiva is one step above the yeshus.
Yes, Gaiva is taking yeshus to the next level.
Next level.
Yeah.
Now where you step.
You have in this week's parsha also, it says when the Eibishter calls out to Moshe, so the Eibishter calls out by Har Sinai, he says, Moshe, Moshe. Repeats his name. So the Zohar points out that there are several people in the Torah whose names are repeated. You have famously, we say every single day, in Lakeda, Avram. You have Yaakov. You have several people in the Torah whose names are repeated. But every single time when a name is repeated in the Torah, there's psik taima begavayu. And there's a psik in between. You know what a psik is? If you look in the Chumash, sometimes it's a straight line, which means to separate. The only time when you have a person's name in the Torah who's repeated, and loy psik taima begavayu, there's nothing separating the two names, is Moshe Rabbeinu. And the Zohar explains the meaning of this. That by every single person there is the way this person is Lamaila, and there's the way the person is Lamata. The way the neshama is, the way Avram was Lamaila, that's the Avram is there's two Avrams. There's Avram in the world of Atzilus, there's Avram over here, and there's a psik. There's separation, because the neshama that comes down here is not the same as the neshama is over here. Over here already again, it has an identity, it's a yesh. The only one who loy psik taima begavayu, who as he was down here, it's exactly the way the neshama didn't change one drop and the tachlis abitl, was Moshe Rabbeinu.
So why did he have a name?
And that's why his name was, what's his name? Moshe. And what does Moshe stand for? Kimin hamayim mishishi. He was drawn straight from the water. The water represents the hidden worlds, the higher worlds above. He was drawn from the hidden worlds, and as he is here, it's really as he was in the waters. In fact, Chassidus explained that's why Moshe had an issue with speaking.
Isn't it also Peshat?
Speech impediment. Just 1 second. He had a speech impediment because he didn't belong in this world. He wasn't here. He didn't really speak. Speech is how we relate to others. And he had difficulty relating to anyone here in this world because he was from a different world, Taka. Yeah.
There's Peshat that he kept his Egyptian name.
So what's him? Yeah.
So what's the rationalization of this?
But no, it's not Mamish, the Egyptian name.
It's not. Right.
It's a translation of the Egyptian name.
Right. It's not like Tufnus Paneach. Yeah, it's totally different. But there was an essence of his Egyptian name that he retained, I suppose.
That does not see this. What does that mean? According to Medrash.
I'm not understanding your question.
What do we have to do together?
You invite him.
All right. So Moshe would seem as this one exception that as his neshama came down here wasn't changed. But even about Moshe Rabbeinu, it says that we know there in Kabbalah talks about Nun Shari Bina, Chamishim Shari Bina. There are 50 gates of understanding. And even Moshe Rabbeinu only reached the 49th. And when did he reach the 50th? On the day that he passed away. And that's why he passed away on Har Nevoi, and Nevoi stands for Nun Boy. The 50th was in there. That's where, when he passed away, he achieved the 50th. So even Moshe Rabbeinu, who came down over here and the neshama was unchanged, the Zohar says, there still was a difference. We have to say there is some sort of difference because for some reason, as long as he was down here, he couldn't arrive at the Shara Hamishim, the 50th gate, and after he passed away, he was able to arrive there. So the bottom line is the neshama has an identity. Again, a holy identity, like a malach. A malach also has a holy identity. It's beautiful, it's great, the neshama, it's wonderful. But to connect to Hashem, you have to have bittul.
The Malachim have names.
They have identities. Yeah.
I thought they're in a higher level. They should.
No, to the contrary. A malach is a yesh.
Is a yesh.
It's a malach is a yesh.
I thought they were totally
No, a malach is a yesh.
spiritual being. They have no growth.
A malach is in the world of Bria,
Bria.
which is already a creation, a holy creation, and as it says in Sifrei Kabbalah, Atzilus, which is the world of complete bittul, there are no malachim there. It's a lashon. I think misam malach b'Atzilus. And Atzilus there is no malach, because a malach is a created entity, a holy entity, but it is a created entity with an identity, which means that with a name, and therefore yeah. And that's why a neshama is higher than a malach, because in its shayrish, a neshama is a lakus, and a malach is really just a nivra. So how do we connect to Hashem? If the only way to connect to Hashem, if the only way to have Ashras Hashkin, again, to connect to Hashem on our terms. From Hashem's perspective, everything is connected. But I'm talking about from our terms, how do we connect, on our terms, how do we connect to Hashem? The only way is through bittul. So that's where mitzvahs come into play. And that's why the Zohar says that the fuel that connects the guf with the Shechina is dafke mitzvahs. Because what is a mitzvah? A mitzvah is Hashem. A mitzvah is Hashem's ratzon. What I want, that's me. That which I want is an expression of who I am. Mitzvahs are the ultimate expression of who Hashem is. When you do a mitzvah, you are at that point subsumed in the mitzvah, you're involved in the mitzvah, and that's completely bottled to Hashem. But through a mitzvah only you can connect to Hashem. And Dr. Rebbe explains, the truth is, as explained in previous prakim, everything is Hashem's ratzon. Everything. Every single thing in this world is a product of Hashem's ratzon. On a simple level. Anything that's here, why is it here? Because Hashem wants it to be here. So everything is a product of Hashem's ratzon. But only mitzvahs are Hashem's pnimiyus haratzon. Pnimiyus haratzon means what Hashem really wants. Everything else Hashem doesn't really want. It's called chitzoniyus haratzon. We've discussed this on many occasions. Chitzoniyus haratzon means I schlep around and I work all day and I do that. But that's not what I really, really want to do. I'm doing that because I want the paycheck. And paycheck, right? And ultimately, what does it boil down to? I want to support my family. I want to have what to eat. That's what I really, really want. That's the pnimiyus haratzon. What is Hashem's pnimiyus haratzon? Is Yidden doing Torah mitzvahs. That's pnimiyus haratzon. Everything else is chitzoniyus haratzon. In pnimiyus haratzon is where Hashem is revealed. What does Hashem want? Where is He in His pure, unfiltered state? Here's what I want. That's Torah mitzvahs. Everything else Hashem is hidden. In simple words, when I go and I give tzedakah, that is Hashem's will, and there's no concealment over there. This is Hashem's will, but looking at it, you'd have no idea. You have any idea that this is Hashem's ratzon? If you learn enough Chassidus, you know it. But when you're doing a mitzvah, what are you doing? You're doing Hashem's ratzon. That is the ultimate bittul to Hashem. Ultimate bittul to Hashem isn't doing a mitzvah. And therefore, the only way to connect to Hashem is to doing a mitzvah. Even at Tzaddik Gomer was the holiest person. He has love of Hashem, he has fear of Hashem, incredible, awesome love of Hashem, and awesome fear of Hashem. That alone does not make him a keli for Hashras HaShechina. That does not make him a vehicle for the divine presence. Hashras HaShechina is through being batul. How are you batul? When you do what Hashem wants. In this moment, this is the expression of bittul to Hashem, and this is our connection to Hashem. And again, that answers what the Zohar says, explains what the Zohar says, why it is that the fuel that connects the guf to the Shechina is dafka through mitzvahs. Let's do one side. We're going to start on page 88, where it says Mashen Ken.
How does it differ from Harabayas? That has Ashras, the Shechina, the experience that the Yidden went when they did the avodah in the base of Mikdash. I mean, why call this Avnus Kodesh? You're defining how Shras Shechina by if you're doing a Ma'aser Mitzvah, you're doing the Ratzon Hashem. What's the definition of Shras Shechina by the base of Mikdash? How do you define that? What's the definition?
It's Hashem's house. What's the function of the Beis HaMikdash? If someone asks you, what's the function of the Beis HaMikdash? It's Hashem's house. In other words, the physical structure expressed its bittul to Hashem in a very real way.
By making the base of Mikdash there, that shows we're doing the Ratzon Hashem.
Correct.
But designating a place that would be Hashras Shechina.
Correct. 2 lines from the top, page 88. Till now, the Alter Rebbe spoke about why the tzaddik alone is handicapped. He's handicapped by his ava, handicapped by his yira, handicapped by his identity, which doesn't allow him to connect to Hashem, because there isn't bittul there.
Well, how many lines?
2 lines from the top. Mashenkin ha-mitzvahs, page 88, 2 lines from the top. Mashenkin ha-mitzvahs. We're going to contrast this, which we spoke about, the neshama of a tzaddik. 2 mitzvahs, u'maisem toivim, mitzvahs and good deeds. Shehein ritzoni yizbarach. They are Hashem's ratzon. Now, ritzoni yizbarach u'makar ha'chaim l'chol ha'il mesu ha'biruim sheyered aleyah ma'aditzim sumim rabim v'hester panim shlo ratzon elyin baruch hu. Hashem's ratzon is the source for all the worlds and for all creations. Hashem's ratzon descends into all the worlds and all of creations through many different contractions. And the main thing is that Hashem's ratzon is hidden within everything. It's not revealed. V'yiridus hamadreges, and the ratzon, Hashem's ratzon comes down through many levels. To the point that we can have the creation of yesh mi'ayin, something from nothing. V'davar nifrad nifnei atzmai, something which feels itself to be an entity separate from Hashem, and it's not completely batul to Hashem, keniskar li'il, as mentioned earlier. That's everything in the world. Everything in the world hides Hashem, belies Hashem. As opposed to mitzvahs. That's Hashem's real will. There's nothing hidden there. Hashem isn't hidden in a mitzvah. So the vitality which goes into the act of a mitzvah is not a davar nifrad b'fnei atzmai klal, is not something separate from Hashem. It is one and subsumed in Hashem's will. And they become one beyichud gomer in an absolute unity. What is the idea of the Shechina residing in a particular place? That's a revelation of Hashem, and the infinite light of Hashem, within a given entity. V'hainu, meaning loymar, to say, sho'isi davar, that thing which is holy, nichlal ba'ir Hashem, is subsumed in the light of Hashem, u'batalei b'metzius lagamri, and is completely bottled to Hashem. Sha'az, that then, u'shashayro misgalabay, then can reside within it and be revealed within it, Hashem echad, the oneness of Hashem. Aval, however, kol mashali batalei la b'metzius lagamri, anything which is not completely bottled to Hashem, ein eir Hashem shayro misgalabay, the light of Hashem is not revealed within it. Va'av tzaddik gomer, and even a complete tzaddik, an absolute tzaddik, shemizdabek by, that seeks to connect Hashem ba'ava rabba, with a tremendous love. Harei, at the end of the day, las machshav v'tfisa beklal be'emes. There is no human thought or human idea that can connect a person to Hashem. We can't grasp Hashem with our minds, with our hearts. Ki amitas Hashem alikim emes, the truth of Hashem, hu yichudei v'achdusei, is the fact that Hashem is absolutely one, shehu levadehu, and He is the only one, ve'efes beladei mamish, and there's nothing other than Hashem whatsoever. And the only way to connect to Hashem is to connect to this idea of einoid movadei, that there's nothing other than Hashem. Ve'im kin, and if so, zeh ha'oyev, the one who loves Hashem, Shuhu Yesh. So he's an entity. What's the proof that he's an entity? That he loves. V'lo yefes, he's not nothing. Less machshava delayed fisa biklal. So this person cannot grasp Hashem whatsoever. Ve'ein eir Hashem sheirom esgalabai. And the light of Hashem does not reside within him and does not reveal itself within him. Ella al yidei, unless through kiyum ha-mitzvahs, through doing the mitzvahs, Shem Ritzoyne v'chachmasa yizbarach mamish, which is the will of Hashem, the wisdom of Hashem, believe shum master upon him with no hiddenness whatsoever. So this is it. You can have a person who's holy and who's spiritual and well and learns a lot of Kabbalah and has love of Hashem and fear of Hashem, but has absolutely no connection to Hashem. Because connection to Hashem is being in tune with Hashem's unity. And not only understanding Hashem's unity, but being part of that unity. And then you have a person who does a mitzvah, a simple mitzvah, but the mitzvah is done. And he's not such a holy person, he's not such a refined person, he's not a big tzaddik. And that person is absolutely connected to Hashem. He's at this moment a vehicle for the Shekhinah because he is doing an act which is batal to Hashem. It's not about me, it's about Hashem. I'm doing what Hashem wants. Says the Alter Rebbe, "Kasher shamati memori olav hashalom," and as I've heard from my teacher of blessed memory,
Who's his teacher?
the Maggid of Mezrich.
Mezrich. Oh, yeah.
This is one of this is the only place in Kutei Amarim where the Alter Rebbe makes such a statement. There's one other place in the Geras HaKodesh where the Alter Rebbe brings down an idea from the Mezrich Maggid. Alter Rebbe says, as I heard from my teacher, Pirush v'tam l'mashakasav be'etz chaim, a reason for that which it says in the Eitz Chaim, she'erein seif baruch hu, that the infinite light of Hashem, einem isyached afilu be'elam atzilus, ella only unites itself in other words, connects and joins with the world of Atzilus only only through first entering the sphere of Chachma, and by way of the sphere of Chachma, then also it has a relationship with the other spheres over there. And the reason for this is She'ein Seif Baruch Hu Echad HaEmes, the Ein Seif Baruch Hu, the infinite light of Hashem. What is it? It is the one truth, Shehu Levadehu. It is the one and only truth. The truth being that He is the only thing that exists, and there's nothing other than Him. This is the level of Chachma. In general, in the worlds, you have four different worlds. Kabbalah talks about four spiritual worlds. There's Atzilus, and there's Bria, and there's Yitzira, and Asiya. As mentioned in passing earlier in this class, the concept of identity really begins with the world of Bria. And that's why the word Bria means creation. What was created? Identity. That's what's created. It was beforehand, there was nothing other than Hashem. Nothing other than Hashem. And from the world of Bria begins that now there are entities that consider themselves, that feel themselves to be a yesh, feel themselves to be something. The world of Atzilus, on the other hand, is not a creation. The world of Atzilus, what does the word Atzilus mean? What's the translation of it, the popular translation of it in English? I don't know, ever read an English Tanya or something? Atzilus is translated as an emanation, the world of emanation.
What does that mean?
What does emanation mean? So you have, like Moshe Rabbeinu, where it says that when he had the 70s Canaan, so it says, Vayatzal man haruach, he emanated from his spirit upon them. Emanation means something like light emits from the sun. Something which emits. So Atzilus is an emanation from Hashem, something which is an extension of Hashem, so to say. Which is very different than creation. Creation implies something which is separate, which is different, which is a unique identity. Atzilus is considered to be an emanation. Nevertheless, even though Atzilus is a world of bittul, right? It's before Bria, there is no creation. Still, the Ir Sof, for the Ir Sof to enter Atzilus is only by way of Chachma. And why is that? Because every single one of the spheres has an identity. Within bittul, in a very subtle way. At the end of the day, this sphere is Bina, this sphere is Chesed, this sphere is Gevura. That's somewhat of an identity already.
Chachma is not an identity.
What is Chachma?
How's it different?
What is Chachma? Chesed is kindness, Bina is understanding. Gevura is strength, Feres is beauty. What is Chachma? Chachma is koyach ma. Chachma is bittul. The capacity of bittul. Ma means what is it? It's the capacity for bittul. It's bittul in its purest form, and that's why it and it alone is a keli for the Eir Sof, because in Chachma, the ultimate understanding and feeling of hu lavadei hu ve'ein zu lasei, that the only thing that exists is Hashem. There's nothing other than Him. In Chesed, can you say there's nothing other than Him? There's Chesed. That's something. It's a name. It's something, right? Like we said, Elu Shmois B'nai Yisrael. It's a name already. Chachma is absolute bittul. Bina already begins identity, understanding.
So why is it associated with Atzilus?
Sorry.
Why is it associated with Olam Atzilus? It's a contradiction to what that Olam is all about.
That's a very good question.
What's it doing over there?
The answer is that the world of Atzilus is dominated by Chachma. You have, I think we talked about this, the Yud Kei Vav Kei, we talked about it before, right? The Yud is Chachma. And the whole world of Atzilus is the Yud. Hey is Bina. The whole world of Bria is a world dominated by Bina. And the Vav is the Midas. That's the world of Yetziras, the 6 Midas. So really the whole world of Atzilus is a world that's dominated by Chachma. It's almost like saying that Bina of Atzilus is like Bina Sheba Chachma, using the terminology of Sfiras HaEmer. So therefore, the Hashem is really misyachid with the whole world of Atzilus. But still, the entry point is the purest Chachma. Chachma Sheba Chachma, that's the entry point, because that's the most absolute bittul. And then the rest of Atzilus is also battle. Why is it all battle? Because it's really within Chachma. All the spheres of Atzilus are really subcategories within Chachma. And that's why they're all battle. But still, in a very subtle way, there's something there, which is why the original, he says that the Eir Sof enters the whole world of Atzilus, but only by way of Chachma. Because that's where the ultimate bittul exists. And the same thing is with the Neshama. Neshama can be holy in everything. And like the spheres of Atzilus. But if there's an identity is a stira, contradicts the Ashras Hashchina.
Yeah, but it's part of God. It's a chelik mikam. So it having an identity. If it's part of
in Chassidus, the neshama is known as Elokus Shenasa Nivra, godliness that has morphed and turned into a creation. I don't want to go there. The bottom line is the shirish of the neshama is absolutely one with Hashem. As it comes down over here, it already has a holy identity. Now, So until now, by now we've answered one of the three questions with which we started the Perek. The last question, the third question, which is why do you need mitzvahs in order to connect to Hashem? Why can't the neshama alone serve as the connection? The answer is the connection to Hashem is through bittul, and the neshama is a metzias. It's an identity, a holy identity, but an identity. Now we're going to turn to the first two questions. Question again, which is why is action so important, and why it is that the neshama has to be within the nefesh habahamis. Why it has to be mislabish, invest itself, and unite with the nefesh habahamis. Inside. Page 88, 5 lines on the bottom. When a person studies Torah, as I then, nishmasei, the person is neshama, shinav she'elikis, which is the nefesh elikis, and its inner two garments. Shehem, what are the inner two garments? The person's speech and thought are subsumed within the infinite light of Hashem, and are united with it with an absolute unity. At this moment, the Shechina is shoira. The Shechina is resting upon, residing upon the Nefesh Elokis, K'mayim Razal, as Chazal tell us in Pirkei Avos, Shafilu Echad Sheyoshev V'Esik B'Torah, that even one person was sitting and studying Torah, Shechina Imay, the Shechina is with him. What does that mean? So as mentioned, that the only way to connect to Hashem is through Torah and through mitzvahs, because that is the Pnimiyus HaRatzon of Hashem, which is Batal to Hashem. So when a person sits and studies Torah, at this moment, he is being a vehicle and absolutely subsumed with and one with Hashem. But what parts of him are connecting to Hashem? What parts of a person are involved when a person is studying Torah? So you have the Nefesh Elikis, studying is, and then the Machshava, the mind is involved in thinking Torah. And the person's dibur, the person's mouth is involved right now in speaking Torah. But that's not enough. However, in order to bring down the light of the Shechina, Gam al Gufay, how do I connect my Guf with Hashem? How do I get a Ashras HaShechina? How do I get to the Shechina that also should reside in my Guf? And also the Nafshei Bahamis. How do I get my Nefesh Bahamis to be a vehicle for Hashem and connected to Hashem? Shehi Achiyunis, this is the soul which gives me life. Hamlubeshas begufay, which is in my body, mamish. For that, tzarech lekayim mitzvahs maisius. For that, we need to do action mitzvahs. Hanaseis ayidei haguf mamish, which are done by the body. So the first part of this Perek we established, the only way to connect to Hashem is through Torah mitzvahs. So, if I only wanted to connect my neshama to Hashem, if I only wanted to connect my mind to Hashem, or even my mouth, my speech to Hashem, it's enough that I sit and daven and I learn Torah the whole day. But what if I want to connect my body to Hashem? What if I want to connect my nefesh bahamis to Hashem? For that we need mitzvahs ma'asiyos, which is explaining why. Why is it ultimately come down to la'asayisay? Because the only way to connect the guf and the nefesh bahamis is dafka through la'asayisay. And this also is going to answer the second question we asked. We asked, why does the guf, the neshama, have to come within the nefesh bahamis? Yes, struggle. We asked, why does it to struggle with the nefesh bahamis? Why does the neshama come down here to struggle with the nefesh bahamis? If the neshama has to struggle, why can't it struggle with an entity outside of it? But now we understand. If the neshama struggles with an entity which is outside of it, the neshama is not elevating that entity. Because the neshama is within the nefesh bahamis. And therefore, as we'll see soon, when it does a mitzvah, it's using the faculties of the nefesh bahamis, because the neshama itself doesn't operate the guf. The nefesh bahamis operates the guf. So when the neshama wants to do a mitzvah, when the neshama wants to put on tefillin, so what's it connecting to Hashem? It's connecting to Hashem, the arm, besides for the fact that the neshama itself is not connecting to Hashem, which it could not have done otherwise. Because the neshama on its own is an entity. It needs a mitzvah in order to connect to Hashem, as explained. So when the neshama when a person puts on tefillin, it's connecting the neshama to Hashem, it's connecting the arm to Hashem, it's connecting the physical energy which is going in, the physical act, it's connecting to Hashem. And it's connecting the nefesh habahamis to Hashem. Because who is wrapping the tefillin is the nefesh habahamis, not the nefesh halakis. Because the nefesh halakis operates the body via the nefesh habahamis. So that's why that's why asiyah is important, action, and it's not enough just feelings or even those mitzvahs that are connected to the mind or to the mouth. And that's also why the neshama has to be invested within the nefesh habahamis, because this way when a person does a mitzvah, he's also connecting the nefesh habahamis to Hashem. As opposed to if the person had to struggle with an entity which was outside of it. Imagine if our struggles was that we didn't have a Yetzer Hara, but every day we had goyim we had to fight with. So it's great. We would connect ourselves to Hashem through doing mitzvahs. And also, we would gain the advantage that is to be gained through struggling. But we wouldn't be elevating that goy. And this way, because the nefesh halikis is within the nefesh habahamis, it's actually also elevating the nefesh habahamis. And let's do this inside. We're going to start from, we'll start again from Ach, 5 lines from the top of Beis Manei. Ach, however, in order to bring down the light, the radiance of the Shekhinah, Gamal Gufay, the Nafshe Bahamas, also on the Guf and also on the Nafshe Bahamas. Hiach Yunis, Nafshe Bahamas is the Nefesh which gives life. Hamlubesh is Begufay, which is within the body. Mamish. Sadach Lakayim, which is Maisius. For that you need to do action mitzvahs. Hanasa is Ayidei Haguf. Mamish. Mitzvahs that are done through the guf. Sha'az, because then koyach haguf mamish, shebasiyazu, the koyach of the body, the bodily faculty, which is invested in this mitzvah, nichlal ba'ir Hashem uritzoynoi, is now subsumed in the light of Hashem and in Hashem's rotzen, umiyuchad be'bi yichud gomer, and is absolutely united with it. Again, now we're elevating and connecting to Hashem the physical power, the bodily power which did the mitzvah. That is the third garment of the nefesh halakis. You're connecting the koyach hamais of the nefesh halakis with Hashem. Then gam koyach nefesh hachayunis shebegufay. Also, the koyach of the nefesh habahamis, mamish meklipas noiga, even though that it's klipa nishapich meralatoy. The moment when a person does a mitzvah, that bodily function, bodily power of the nefesh habahamis is transformed to good, ve'nichlal mamish b'kedusha, and becomes subsumed in the holiness of Hashem, kenefesh or lekis mamish like the neshama. When you're doing a mitzvah,
Totally transformed.
yes, you're transforming and connecting the koyach of the nefesh habahamis, not the nefesh habahamis itself. You know it's very clear over here.
Yeah.
Koyach nefesh hachunis, that koyach of the nefesh habahamis, which is invested in doing that mitzvah, is now transformed and connected to Hashem, mamish like the nefesh halakis. Mi'achar, because shehu hu apayil v'isa ma'isa mitzvah. It is that koyach of the nefesh habahamis that's doing the mitzvah. Shebeladei, because without it, lo yoisa nefesh halakis payelas b'guv klal. Without it, the nefesh halakis would not be able to operate in the body. Why? Ki hi ruchnis. The nefesh halakis is completely spiritual. V'aguv gashmi. The body is material. So how does the nefesh halakis operate the body? From a mutzah b'neim, it has to have an intermediary, the middleman. Who's the middleman between the nefesh halakis and the guf? That would be the nefesh habahamis, the nefesh hachayunis. He nefesh hachayunis habahamis. That's the soul that gives life, the animal soul, hamlubashes bedama adm shebelibe, which is within the blood of the person, in the person's heart, v'chol haguf, and the entire body. This is amazing stuff. So we realize what we're doing, what we're accomplishing, we're doing a mitzvah maisis. When you're doing a mitzvah, which is, you're sitting and learning Torah, which is interesting. If you remember what we learned earlier in Perek Hey and Perek Chav Gimel, and what we'll learn again later in Perek Lamed Zayin, like you don't remember that, but we will learn about it again in Perek Lamed Zayin, that the unity which we accomplish and achieve through learning Torah is much higher than the unity through doing a mitzvah. We learned that in Perek Hey and in Perek Chav Gimel, which is why we say V'talmud Torah K'neged Kulam. The learning Torah is more important than everything, because learning Torah creates, engenders this incredible unity with Hashem. There's no parallel to that unity, including in mitzvahs. But that's the unity of the Nefesh Elokis with Hashem. At the end of the day, when a person learns Torah, the Nefesh Bahamis is barely involved. The Nefesh Bahamis is moving the lips. It's a very, very minimal involvement. Moving the lips, when a person speaks, speaking is a spiritual act. Yes, it's a physical movement, but ultimately, when you speak, there's a reason why a person is called a medaber. Animals can't speak. Because animals are physical. In other words, that's all they don't live in the higher worlds. And our speaking is a reflection of our thoughts and of our feelings and of our ideas and of our perceptions. So our speech is a spiritual faculty. That's why the Alter Rebbe spoke about the two inner garments of the Nefesh Elokis, which is machshava, thought, and speech. So when a person learns, you're involving only the Nefesh Elokis and its spiritual faculties, the Nefesh Elokis and its thought and in its speech. You're not involving the Maisa of the Nefesh Elokis. You're not involving the Nefesh Bahamis. You're not involving the Guf. When you do a mitzvah, Maisa, when you do an actual mitzvah, again, the unity through Torah is a higher unity, but it encompasses much less. It only encompasses the spiritual parts of the Nefesh Elokis. When you do a mitzvah maisis, when you do a physical mitzvah, at that moment, the entirety of your being is right now being subsumed in the unity of Hashem, connected to Hashem, and as the words of Alter Rebbe, transformed like the Nefesh Elokis itself. The value of a mitzvah maisis, the value of an action mitzvah. It's because it's not about you, it's about Hashem. Which is interesting also about action. Action is the place where you are least expressed. Think about that. When you speak, it's you. What are you speaking? When you think, it's about my feelings, my thoughts, my perceptions. When I'm speaking, I'm expressing my thoughts, my feelings. Action is very detached from me. Yet that's how we connect everything to Hashem.
But that's high madrega. You're saying that Talmud Torah connected Kulam.
Because there's the least ego.
It's me.
Right, and the least ego is an action. Action is the least ego. Just doing it.
So how you value,
just doing it.
How you came
Bittul.
Well, one Talmud Torah has less bittul, and my mitzvahs has more bittul. So why the one that has?
You have to learn Perek Hey.
What?
You have to review Perek Hey and Perek Chav Gimel. But
I don't have a good memory.
Okay, so in Mir Hashem and Perek Lamed Zayin, we're going to revisit the idea.
The idea, all right.
Okay, it's 2 prakam from now. It should around 2 months or so. Okay.
Then I forget for sure.
There's the value of the act of doing a mitzvah. The value of the act of doing a mitzvah. Now, right there inside. And even though the essence of the Nefesh Bahamis, which is in the heart, what is the essence? It's bad midas. Let's be honest. You're learning Torah, you're doing a mitzvah, your Nefesh Bahamis, your desires, your temptations, they've not gone anywhere. They're still there. So as Reuven keeps on asking, what kind of bittul is this? What kind of bittul is this? The Nefesh Bahamis didn't disappear. The Nefesh Bahamis still wants all those bad things that it wants. It still has an ego. What kind of bittul is this?
You never parted from it.
Says the Alter Rebbe, Mekol Makim still ma'achar diskafkin l'kedusha. Because at the moment when a person is doing a mitzvah, at this moment those midas, that ego, that klipa, at this moment it's subdued. It's subdued to Kedusha. It's right now subjugated to Kedusha. Ubal karcha einen amin. And the midas, whether they like it or not, it's an expression of the Gemara, they're answering amin. You know, this is Bal karcha einen amin. We have like the medrash about the two malachim that come home Friday night. So if they find the house that is lit up and a Shabbos tish the way it's supposed to be, so the good one gives a bracha, and the other one, Bal karcha, the other malach, Bal karcha ein amin, has no choice but to answer amin, right? Same thing also over here. The nefesh at the moment a person is doing a mitzvah, at the end of the day, the nefesh bahamis is doing it, whether umaskimin umisratzin lasiyas mitzvah. And at this moment, the nefesh bahamis is agreeing and is willing to do the mitzvah. Right? It's doing it. Nefesh bahamis, your ego is doing the mitzvah. Because your ego right now is being subdued to your nefesh elokis. Aidei iskabrus nafshi elokis shebemoyach. Through the fact that your nefesh elokis, which is in your mind, shashal ta'alev, which the mind controls the heart, so it is right now controlling your nefesh bahamis. V'hein b'sha'azu, and at this moment, the bad midos of the nefesh bahamis are bebechinas galus v'shina k'nisker la'il. They're in exile, they're asleep, they're in hibernation. When you're doing a mitzvah, at the moment you're doing the mitzvah, the bad midos of nefesh bahamis, they're asleep. And therefore, einzu miniya, the fact that the essence, the essential midos of the nefesh bahamis have not been transformed, this is not a miniya, an obstacle. Right? Mashras hashchina al gufa adam b'sha'azu, over the shchina residing on the body of the person at this time. The hainu meaning shekoyach nefesh achayunas hamelubash b'asiyas hamitzvah. The koyach, the actual koyach that went into doing the mitzvah, the koyach of nefesh bahamis, hu nichlal mamish b'eir Hashem, is absolutely subsumed in the light of Hashem. Umeyuchad b'ei b'yichud gamar, is absolutely united with it. And we'll stop over here. We'll finish the Perek next week, and we'll start with Hashem Perek Lamed Vav next week. But we have a lot of insight over here. This is as I mentioned in the past, that now we're moving into the why stage of Tanya. We're trying to understand the why of everything. The how, more or less, we covered in the first 34 parakim. And now we're trying to figure out why. Why is Maisa mitzvah? Why is the mitzvah, the Maisa, so important? Why does the neshama have to be, mislabish in the guf? Why do we need the mitzvah? And now we're beginning to see the answers to all the questions. If we need to get the guf involved, we need to connect the guf to Hashem. We need to connect the nefesh bahamis to Hashem. The only way to connect is through a mitzvah. And therefore, since the guf and the nefesh bahamis, they're physical, we need mitzvahs ma'isius in order to elevate the nefesh bahamis and the guf itself. Shabbos.